Good morning, student. Today we are going to know about anomalous primary structure which are found in Borevia stem. This Borevia is belonging to the family Nyctanginaceae. Here is the inflorescence of Borevia diffusa and these are the flowers. This is the diagrammatic representation of Borevia stem which shows anomalous secondary thickenings. That thickenings are nothing but a secondary growth. That's why it is called as anomalous secondary thickening. Here is the actual transverse section of Borevia transverse section which showing each and every internal architecture or internal cell arrangement. So in this way we are knowing about internal structure of Borevia. First of all, occurrence of scattered vascular bundles in dicotyledon stem means what? The Borevia is a plant which belonging to the family Nyctanginaceae and all the members which are included in dicotyledon means dicots. So from these all members, some members are showing abnormal or a variable characteristic of a secondary growth, and that is called as anomalous growth. So that's why they are enlisted over here, some examples. So normally the vascular bundles in dicotyledon stem are arranged in more or less in a ring, means in a circular manner, but sometimes these followings are of few variation, means some members of dicotyledon shows few variation where the vascular bundles are more or less irregularly or randomly scattered in the parenchymatous ground tissue of the stem, and that's why it is called as a anomalous growth. Basically, anomalous means abnormal or rather than normal. So in case of anatomy of Borevia stem, which is belonging to the family Nyctanginaceae, when we are taking a transverse section means a TS of a stem which showing a circular outline and that reveals the following tissues one by one which are found inside the transverse section of Borevia. So first of all, here is the arrangement of a outer limiting and protecting layer that is called as a epidermis. Within this epidermis there is a single layered epidermis which consists of small radially elongated cells, and that cells are parenchymatous cells. Below that, a multicellular epidermal hairs arise from some cells. So the epidermal cells, some cells are converted into a epidermal hairs, and at the upper layer these hairs are found. Then the thick cuticle is also present on the epidermis, means above the epidermis, and sometimes stomata are also present on these stems. So exactly below the epidermis there is a presence of a cortex. This is the most important layer, and within that layer there is a formation of anomalous growths. So first of all, it is well differentiated and consists of few layered cholenchymatous hypodermis. So below the epidermis there is a presence of a cholenchymatous, which are after staining these cells becomes a pink in color, and below that cholenchymatous hypodermis there is a presence of a chlorenchyma. So that cholenchyma is 3 to 4 cells deep, means it is developed by the 3 to 4 cell layer deep. but generally near stomata it is only one layered. Then chlorenchyma, which is nothing but a cells, possesses a chlorophyll within it. So chlorenchyma is present inner to the collenchyma, and which form near about 3 to 7 layers deep, or 3 to 7 layers. These chlorenchymatous cells are thin walled, oval, full of chloroplast, and enclosed by many intercellular spaces. So basically it is oval in shape, and that's why in between 2 to 3 oval shapes there is a development of intercellular spaces. Below that there is a development, or there is a presence of endodermis. This endodermis is clearly developed and made up of many tubular thick walled cells. Below that endodermis there is a presence of a pericycle. This pericycle is present inner to the endodermis. It is developed by the parenchymatous cells. Pericycle, but at some places it is represented by the isolated patches of the sclerenchyma. So basically this pericycle is developed by the sclerenchymatous cells, and such cells are grouped into a patches, and such patches are protecting whatever is present inside it. Then below that pericycle there is a vascular system. So this vascular system is nothing but an vascular bundles or cylinder or a stele. Within a vascular bundles, these vascular bundle are present in 3 rings. The innermost ring are present 2 large bundles. At the center there is a presence of a 2 large bundle. So in this diagram there is a 2 bundles which are present at the center. Here is the 2 large bundles are present at the center. Then in the middle layer or middle ring there is a number of range of 6 to 14 vascular bundles are present, while the outermost ring consists of 15 to 20 vascular bundles which are shown in this figure. So here is the 2 larger vascular bundle which are again randomly placed. Then this one is a vascular bundle which is a part of middle vascular ring, and in this way this middle vascular ring shows near about 6 to 14 vascular bundles, and at the outermost layer there is a development of near about 15 to 20 vascular bundles. Sometimes these vascular bundles of innermost and middle rings are having medullary bundles. So medullary rays are nothing but a radial system which can passes down towards the pith and transport the secondary metabolite to the pith cells. Then vascular bundles are conjoined. In case of Borrelia, vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral and endark. As well as the 2 vascular bundles which are innermost in ring are large, oval and lie opposite to each other, with their xylem facing towards the center and phloem present towards the periphery or outer side. So these vascular bundles, these 2 vascular bundles which are present at the center, so there is a xylem cells which are always facing towards each other, and phloems are facing towards the outer layer or outermost side or peripheral side. Then middle ring consists of 6 to 14 small vascular bundles. These vascular bundles of inner and middle rings may show little secondary growth. So these vascular bundles which are present at middle ring or outer ring, they are having secondary growths. Phloem consists of sieve tubes, companion cells, phloem parenchyma, while xylem consists of vessels, tracheids and xylem parenchyma. Phloem are conducting food material, minerals and food material, while vessels or xylem conducting water. Then outermost ring of vascular bundles contain inner fascicular cambium which is absent in other two rings. So outermost ring of vascular bundle contain inner fascicular cambium which is absent in other two rings. So this cambium is responsible for the secondary growth. So what happened? Cambium develops secondarily from the pericycle and becomes active. So the cambium become active means they are going to develop a secondary growth. So it cuts secondary phloem towards the outer side and the secondary xylem towards the inner side. So in this way, at outer side there is a development of a secondary phloem and towards inner side there is a development of secondary xylem. So due to these changes, the primary phloem become crushed and present next to pericycle. So that's why there is a development of pericycle. So due to the changes, the primary phloem becomes crushed and present next to pericycle, and primary xylem is situated near the pith. The primary xylem is nothing but that's xylem tissue which are facing towards each other. The bundles which are present at the center, these are situated near the pith. Then the interfascicular cambium also soon becomes active and participate in a secondary growth. So cuts internally the rows of cell which becomes thick walled and lignified and are known as conjunctive tissues. So in this way interfascicular cambium becomes a conjunctive tissue. Likewise, there is a development of a pith, and that pith is well developed parenchymatous and present in the center, that are also holds many more secondary metabolites within it. Some most important cells are enlisted over here, which are a remarkable identification in case of these anomalous growth. So first of all, presence of vessels in xylem, that is the characteristic of an angiosperm. Then cortex is well differentiated. Vascular bundles are conjoined, collateral, open and dark. These are the characteristic of a angiospermic stems. Then vascular bundles are present in ring. This is the characteristic of angiosperm. Then well developed secondary growth, well defined pith, which are found in a dicotyledon. So the Borevia is a member of family Nyctanginaceae and has been described as having C4 and C3 physiology and mixed anatomy. So what is meant by mixed anatomy? They are showing a secondary growth which are anomalous in origin or and in this way, with some species showing C4 and other C3 type anatomy and related physiology. The stem in Borevia contains well-defined anomalous secondary growth, which is characterized by the presence of successive rings of xylem and phloem. So what happened? The stem of Borevia contains well-defined anomalous secondary growth, means a remarkable characteristic of a anomalous secondary growth, and which is characterized by the presence of successive rings of xylem and phloem. So these successive rings are shown over here. So these darkened layers which are present inside the cortical regions, that is nothing but an anomalous secondary growth. According to the Rajput and Rao in 1998, the cambium is composed of fusiform initials only, which give rise to rayless secondary vascular tissues, and the cambium is described as being storied when cells division cesses. Each successive region of cambium is originated from outermost phloem parenchyma cell. So the outermost phloem parenchyma cells are responsible for the development of these, means a ring of cambium. The cambial ring is functionally segmented into fascicular conducting elements of a xylem and phloem with some parenchyma. That's why the latter parenchymatous cells are developed over here. The xylem parenchyma cells develop into a conjunctive tissue following thickenings and lignification of a cell wall. In two of the species, that is Borrelia verticillata and Borrelia rependa, these two species are showing such type of lignification. Then phloem parenchyma cells also undergo lignification, but in Borrelia diffusa, parenchyma cells remain primary walled. Then alternate bands of lignified parenchymatous bands are distinct in the stem. So here is the development of alternate lignifying patches, rings or bands. The xylem vessels elements are short with a simple perforation plate. So these perforation plates are nothing but an vessel's opening, and if that vessel opening having a pits or holes or long elongated plates, that is nothing but a perforation plate. This perforation plate on slightly oblique to transfer ends wall. And the phloem contains sieve tubes, members and associated companion cells. So sieve tubes are nothing but like a sieve or net. So in this way we know about a Borrelia stem anatomy, which showing a randomly placed or abnormal or secondary growth. So this secondary growth which are not a normal development, that's why it is called as anomalous secondary growth of a Borrelia stem. So this photograph shows such type of arrangement which is taken by Rajput and K. Rao, that shows cambial anatomy and absence of rays in the stem of Borrelia species which belonging to the family Nyctanginaceae. So thank you for listening or watching my video lecture.